Welcome to another episode of the PPSS Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have another fascinating guest. On the show, we interview celebrities, entrepreneurs, business CEOs, athletes, and artists to find out their path to success, how they're able to overcome challenges, adversity, of course, their keys to success. And today's guest is somebody who's been helping a lot of people all around the world improve their personal lives, help them find that permission to live the life that they've always wanted and that he's always deserved. I've had the opportunity to see her live on stage, being interviewed by some people, and she every time she speaks, people perk up just because of the nature of what she does and what she's very good at and what she's an expert at. She's been helping a lot of people unblock the limits, their limiting beliefs in intimacy, helping people satisfy their personal lives, and also finding that ability to help them sort out their mindset shifts so that they can be, do, have, and also experience what they truly want out of their lives. She's also known as Australia's Lady O, which I'll let her explain a little bit later as well. So please welcome personal trainer, clear energy therapy expert, author, two times world record holder, Ms. KATRINA WYRZYKOWSKI.
Hello, Fong. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thanks for being here. I'm very excited to have you here. When I first saw you on stage and being interviewed, I was like, okay, that is an interesting topic. How am I going to mix this into my show? But we'll find a way, and I'm very excited to see how this goes, and especially the topic that you work with, and also what you're really good at, helping other people kind of realize and improve on, is not a topic that many people get into. However, how did you get to where you are today? I mean, like, it's not every day people go, okay, this is what I want to specialize in, and this is what I want to be known as the expert in. So share with us your origin story.
And to be fair, I didn't ever want to be the expert in this either, but sometimes life it kept coming, it kept going to me, and it kept being apparent that it was needed. So many years ago, I was in a boot camp, which was for money, and women have a lot of money blocks naturally. Men don't seem to have the same money blocks. Men seem to be able to increase their income and they think they deserve it. Women have a thing where we need permission. So a lady in Australia called Denise Duffield Thomas has a money boot camp, and she has made millions and millions by teaching other women how to remove money blocks. And something came up about the link between sex and money, that the more orgasms you have, the more money you make. And a lot of people don't know this or haven't experienced it. So it's great news for people who are already making money that sex life can improve their income. And someone happened to mention that their boyfriend wasn't finished until they had had 3 orgasms. But the comments on that thread went crazy. Everyone's like, three, 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 three. Everybody. And I just thought, three's a big deal. So I thought I just kind of banked that. In the same time, I was in another mastermind with some women, and we were talking about orgasm, and just that, everybody loves it. It's great when it happens, but women don't think, oh, I'll go and have an orgasm. Or it's kind of for women, like, it's just when it happens, and it's all great. But we don't do that intentionally. We don't necessarily seek to get the benefits of that at other times, particularly if we're stressed or unwell or got a lot going on. And we, between those conversations, developed an orgasm a day challenge where we challenged each other. I think there were about 8 of us in that group to have an orgasm a day for a month. So we all had to have 30. And no one had ever done that before. And I thought, you know what? Why not? So we did that. It was lots of fun. And I thought, why don't women have more orgasms? And then I think it was also around the time that 50 Shades of Grey came out. So that just went wild. And I think it unlocked, as I said, the permission piece for women to have conversations and to see what our body is naturally capable of. So I then started to write a book about orgasm, and no one was ever coming to me with these conversations, but as I was having them with other people, everyone's like, wow, 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 thank you. And it's something people literally don't think of.
So eventually, just got branded as the old lady.
Yeah, because then when I met JT, as JT Fox, Fong and I both know and work and are coached by, I was in the room and he said, everyone tell me your business ideas. And it had been at the back of my mind. I had said, this is my year to really launch it, but I didn't know how to do that. And he said, you get one opportunity. And I thought, I'm literally sitting in the room thinking, do I, don't I, do I, don't I, do I want to be known as this? Yes or no? But I know that I can help people. And I put up my hand and said, I help people with multiple orgasms. And he was like, oh, he nearly spat his drink out. He goes, right, okay. And the rest is history, because he said, yeah, as you said, you're very well spoken. I can brand you. I think this will be great. And it has been a phenomenal 6 months since I really took it public.
That is very, very awesome. Well, congratulations on all of that. So, question for you is with regards to the path that you chose. I'm sure that when you were kind of contemplating about, okay, I want to be branded as this, I want to be an expert in this, that there's a lot of other people who would go, hey, that's don't go there or don't try that. It's gonna be risky. You're gonna be pigeonholing yourself into one specific areas, and you don't necessarily want to be known as that. How did you navigate through those conversations? Because they may or may not want to, they may or may not be saying that because of they want you to fail. They're there to protect you. But you had a vision. So how did you navigate through those conversations and made the decision that you made?
Yeah, so I then found myself in the coaching world and with JT. And when I realized that I'm in a room of millionaires, 10-figure millionaires, 100 millionaires, and billionaires, I thought, what can I offer these people? If I just say I'm a lifestyle coach, all these people are making a lot more money than what I was making. So I don't feel like I could bring value to them. If I said to them, I can improve your sex life in 31 days, that gets people's attention because I can. And what I do is a lot of it is mindset. A lot of it is mindset. As I said, for women, it's permission. And for men, it's like the ego thing, which JT and I talk a lot about. He said, you've got to be able to overcome the male ego. And as I said to him, you would be amazed at, since I opened the door to conversation, the conversation with both women, which I've always had, but men has absolutely blown me away because they want to talk about it and they want a safe place to talk about it and they want to ask questions and they want to know, oh, am I doing enough? And some men come to me almost brokenhearted and say, I love my wife so much, but we're having this problem. And I can give them the words to use to a woman that will change it so that she won't get defensive. I know that, obviously. And they've never had that space. So it just became apparent how needed it was. And when I see someone who's terrified to talk to me, and some of the men are joking, like, I don't want to be seen talking to you because people will think I have a problem. And that's the very point. And all of that just reinforced that we need to open up this conversation.
What have you been finding is the most common areas that people are lacking in that prevents them from having the what they truly want?
I think that people don't have enough sex, enough quality sex, and really a lot of frequency. There was a study recently done that said only 32% of women are satisfied with their sex life, but 42% of men, which surprised me actually. But that's still less than half of the people walking around. And as I say, if people were having an orgasm a day, we could cure road rage. I feel like the benefits of a really healthy sex life, they do lower stress hormones. They do help you live longer. For women, you glow for days. For men, they feel like, the king of the world. But this is how we were made. This is how God made us. This is nature. It's natural and normal. But unfortunately, a lot of people through society get into relationships where other areas are really good, or it's a financial decision rather than a sexual one, and the intimacy suffers. And then when it's gone on for so long, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, years, a lot of people, years and years. And it's like, we've come so far apart. How do we come back together? How do we reconnect? And that's something that I help people with.
What are some of the most like the very first steps that usually get people into to get back to like where they were before?
It's about communication and conversation. When they tell me what's going on for them, often I can just give them one or two sentences or one or two questions to ask their partner in a way that drops their guard, in a way that brings the defense down. For instance, I had someone who said, we haven't had sex in 10 or 12 years. And I said, and it was actually after Mega, where I spoke about the differences between the genitalia and the mindsets. That I said on very publicly on stage that men love their penis. No one needs to tell a man how great it is to have a penis because they all believe that. Whereas for women, we don't get that messaging. We didn't get that messaging. We actually got no messaging, or it's bad or dirty or wrong or smelly, and that it's something to be ashamed of in a way, and that if you like sex, you're a slut, or these sort of messaging were very, very rife, particularly for women over 40, 50. And so I said to this gentleman, I said, if you really love your wife, perhaps you could start by saying, hey, I just saw an interview with a lady on stage who mentioned that girls get this messaging when they're little. What sort of messaging did you get about your vagina when you were little? Or what did your mother teach you about sex? And I think it's a way to open up the conversation and sort of bring it back to, oh, this is not my fault. This is nobody's fault. If you don't have the information, you're not at fault. It's not anything that is anybody's to blame. It's something that we can say, oh, wow, we both don't know this about each other, and we can start a conversation.
Wow, very, very interesting. When you got into this path for yourself, was there something that you kind of did not expect that kind of came up in front of you that you had to change and maneuver, that you had to rethink things through, or did things kind of just go went according to plan for you?
No, it became very strategic. How the strategy became important for me. Like, how do I do this? I was a little bit concerned about, yeah, like you say, being labeled. And as we discussed, I am a lifestyle strategist. So it is about the lifestyle. And I find a lot of successful, wealthy people who are absolutely crushing it in their career and their money. Actually, their personal lives are in a little bit of tatters, and it seems to go hand in hand. So I think getting myself in front of these people and wording it in a way that piqued their interest. And one stage we were at a training event in Bali, and you know those stand-up tables where you usually stand with a drink at the like a kind of a bar, and a few men were sort of they heard who I am and what I do, and they're like, but how, like what exactly do you do? And I started just talking about my story and got really passionate about it and how important it is. And I looked up and I had 5 guys just staring at me like, because they'd never thought about it. No one thinks about it. So I think the most surprising thing is that people are so grateful. And after Mega, I got so many thank yous, so many messages, so many shout outs on social, because it is a taboo topic. And as I said too, if you're starting out a new relationship, it seems to be something that people can talk about. But some people have been in that relationship for 10, 15, 20 years and haven't talked about it in a while. So it gives them an opportunity to start a new conversation and get the life that they want and deserve, because then they're not happy with the lack of sex and intimacy in their life. And I've given them permission to start a new conversation.
With this topic, have you found that it's easier for you to just write out and talk about it, or kind of ease your way into the conversation?
Um, it's funny too, because it is such a different topic. And at Mega Success, where we were, you were having property investor, tax accountant, investor, and the orgasm lady. So I was one of a kind, and it is a new conversation. So by this time I got on stage, people had whispers. People in the insiders group know who I am. I have already some following online, but a lot of my family and friends didn't know. My family did, of course, but not a lot of my friends. And now I'm getting messages from some of my friends just as soon as last night saying, thank you. It is so refreshing to hear you talk about it, because I'm very respectful the way I talk about it. I'm very careful the way I talk about it. And I understand that it can be, people get triggered by this particular topic. So, I mean, I'm there. It's very open now on social media for people to have a conversation. I invite people to DM me, and there's no judgment or shame. Like, you could not say anything that I'm going to go, oh gosh, that's terrible. I just say, okay. And as I said, like you said in your introduction, what do you want? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? And most people want to have a really satisfactory sex life, but most people, well, judging by statistics, don't. And the conversations I've had, a lot of people don't.
No, a lot of you kind of mentioned this before. A lot of it has to do with a mindset shift, and you help people kind of navigate through how to change that mindset so that they're not too, not themselves. They're still themselves, but it's just a little tweak.
Yeah.
Speaking from a business perspective, and sometimes speaking and all that kind of stuff, people go, "Well, if I start thinking this way, that's not me anymore. How can I be authentic if that's not me?" So that's that mindset shift. You kind of pull that elastic band a little bit more and a little bit more. You're still you, but you're growing. How do you help people navigate through that when it comes to the mindset shift?
So what I offer is a one-on-one coaching, and in that I can do rapid mindset shift in a 1 hour session with me. But it's about asking the right questions and really teasing that out. Because if someone said to me, hey, this is what I really want, but I'm too afraid to ask it, or what does it say about me if I tell people what I want? What does it say about me as a man if I tell my wife I want to have sex more? What does it say to me about a woman if I've never told my husband about the trauma that I've had? What does it say about me if I love sex? What does it say about me if I'm scared? What does it say if I'm telling my partner I'm not satisfied? People, it's all up here. They've already telling themselves a story about how they feel, and they're getting into their emotions. So if we say, well, I can, in a one-on-one session, clear that up, clear the path to the conversation, clear the path to the satisfaction, clear the path to getting what you want. And my testimonials from my current clients will tell you that it's worth it. And a lot of people come back and have said publicly, I was so scared to speak to Katrina. I'm very easy to talk to, is what people say, and they say thank you mostly. And I just think that in itself is the testimony of the people I've worked for is enough for people to say, oh, maybe I can have this conversation too, because on the other side of that difficulty is the pleasure that I seek.
Now, you've worked with a lot of people and you've helped a lot of people. I'm sure that there's some common things that usually come up, usually misunderstandings, misconceptions, myths that people kind of tell themselves. Are there three or four really common myths or or misconceptions or misunderstandings that you hear a lot of time that you could share with right now and kind of kill that myth or misunderstanding?
Yeah. Well, number one, let's go straight to the top, that women say they can't orgasm, or they've never had an orgasm, or they don't know how. Every woman can. That is absolutely not true. And it may be, as I've said, we can talk about the mindset, we can talk about the physical, we can talk about the practicalities, but every woman can. So if people can't, or just are in that thing of I can't, that is untrue. I think for men, it's just being brave enough to have that conversation with me, which so many are. So I'm not like I'm looking to break down all those barriers, but enough men are coming to me and telling me, and they tell me really honest and intimate things, and I help them and they walk away and of course they're happy because it works. So I think bravery is a big thing, and I think too, I also spoke to another person who's another coach. She's a lifestyle coach herself. And she was just baffled by me and my topic and what I do. And she's like, I've never even thought of it. And I'm thinking, you've been coaching people for years on all sorts of topics, but mainly business or money or lifestyle, and sex has just been left out of the equation. So I think sex needs to come back in the occasion. We're all adults, for adults, of course. And that thinking about nature and our biology, that we are designed to be sexual beings and sexual creatures. And, humans and dolphins are the only ones that have sex for pleasure, not just for procreation. So if it is something that's pleasure, it's good for you. There are virtually no downsides. Why wouldn't we? So let's just think, oh, what am I missing? I'm missing out on all this fun that I could be having. And for most people, they've got a willing person right there in their house or their bed, and they're not doing it. You don't even have to go and find somebody. You've got somebody there.
That's very, very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people could attest to that. So as you're moving along in your entrepreneur journey, being branded as Lady O, you're going out there doing speaking engagements, you're doing interviews, you're writing books, you're doing all this great stuff. Was there anything that you didn't expect to be doing that you're now doing, like speaking or podcasting or anything like that?
Podcasting, I never really thought about, to be honest, but that is one thing that I just love. Now that we can do it on Zoom, I mean, you and I are on opposite sides of the world. It is amazing. And speaking to celebrities like Joe Foster and Caroline and Sergio from the Real Housewives of Dubai. And I've got a few people on my list who I look up to, my favorite author, and a few people from their field that I would love to speak to. And that opportunity, I just sort of thought, how would I ever get exposed to these people? How would I ever get to talk to these people? And the podcasting has been a real thing that took me by surprise, and a really amazing asset to my business, and that I can bring value to other people, such as your audience.
Now, being able to speak with so many different types of people, from very, very first class to common folk, and also different cultures and whatnot, have you found any of the things different when it comes to, let's say, different cultural backgrounds, different educational backgrounds, that has challenged you as to what you need to teach?
Yes, because some that I'm unfamiliar with, for instance, different religions, different cultures. And I asked people, I did have a man from an Indian background, and then I asked him, I had to ask him a lot of questions about his culture, because I was under the assumption, I know that a lot of the parents live with the adult children and a lot of generations live together. And I know that divorce is not so common there. It's getting more common now. So they are told to get married, a lot of times arranged, but not as much these days. So very much the families are involved in the marriage. And I said, do your parents give you guidance on how to be married once you're married? He said, no. And I was surprised by that, because I thought they would continue the grandparents and parents and guiding the people, but it's almost like, well, you found your person, don't get divorced, but good luck, off you go. And I thought, I was really surprised. And he came to me and told me about what was going on for him. And I had to learn, as I said, I'm asking questions, and as long as people give me honest answers, we're learning. I grew up Catholic, so I actually rang a priest to have an interview with the Catholic Church, and I spoke to some. I wasn't able to, and I still want to do that, because I think it's interesting. I would love to speak to leaders in different religions about the practices they teach, what's culturally acceptable and appropriate for them. In the Bible, it doesn't say anything against multiple orgasms or orgasms for women. There is one minor reference for men. And I think a lot of people have guilt and shame based on religion. And I think, too, that it's been suppressed for many years. And I think, well, what if we could blow the lid on that and people could release that shame? That would change the game for a lot of people.
Another way that you've been sharing your information and what your expertise is your book. You kind of talked about how you wrote the book. Share with us more about the book and also how people can pick it up.
Yeah, so it's still in pre-production. It will be very, very soon. I'm hoping within 3 months. So it's a lot of information. I'm going to have 2 volumes. So the first one will be on orgasm. The second one will be on multiple orgasm. I might keep the title. I might keep it secret for now, but I will have a link, because by the time this goes to show, it probably will be ready. So yeah, it's going to be on Amazon. I will be doing a book launch party. I've already found a stylist who said, I'm going to style you for your book launch, a book cover. So that's really exciting. Everyone's getting so excited on my behalf, which I think is really amazing. And I'm really honored and flattered, because, as I said, it comes left of field. And when you're at a business seminar and everyone's talking about their money and their tax and their property and their investment, and then someone comes along and talks about their sex life, it's really like people are going, oh, but then they realize it is a really important topic. So the book is, smashing a lot of beliefs, a lot of limitations, giving women permission, setting them a challenge. Men, I know that men will read it, and I've got a little section for men as well. And I'm so honored when a man comes to me and says, I really want to please my partner, or how can I be better at this? I'm just like, hats off to you. Well done. Because I'm like, this is what we need to have, is more conversation. It doesn't make it bad or wrong if you don't know what you don't know. And that's the whole point, that we don't know what we don't know. And as entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time. How much money did I make last month? How much money did I make this year? What's my money goal? Do people write sex goals? I mean, I always have, but a lot of people don't. It's like, well, I would love to explore what's new. I would love to reach the heights that are possible with my partner, or I need a new partner. It could be any of those. Or a lot of people saying, I've actually never had the kind of sex that I'm reading about. How do I do that? So the permission piece is a really big piece. It'll be funny and interesting, and a lot about the mindset and the fact that we were born for this. So, as adults who are healthy, why not?
Exactly. Now, during your entrepreneurship journey here, what has been the greatest challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome it?
There are ways where there are places I can't speak about it. For instance, on social media, that is censored, and a lot of things I can't say. So I do have to be a little bit more creative. Having said that, there are platforms that are, you're able to. So I think I'm the kind of person, when I wake up and I say, I want to make a video, I just want to speak from the heart. I don't tend to do scripts or write it out beforehand, because I find my energy comes through in my natural ability to just speak. I'm a Christian and very much God-led, so I feel like I'm divinely guided to say what I need to say. So I think sometimes when I can't say that, or can't be put that, or people such as yourself go, oh, very interesting topic, but how are we going to, incorporate that in? But funnily enough, every adult over the age of 18, it affects in some way, either because you are in a relationship or you're not, or, and sex is something that does affect all of us. So I think it's important for me to sort of think about how to get myself as well known as possible, how to get my name out there, still following all the rules and guidelines. And I think too, after people speak to me and the other thing is that I have some teenagers following me due to my children and their friends, and I haven't had this problem, but I know another thing is they don't want people saying that, and also the issue of my children getting flack for it. And I said, listen, anyone who knows who I am is because their parents are interested in what I do. They're my customers. They're essentially paying our bills. So I don't think there's anything to worry about in that regard of people knowing what I do.
That's very interesting. Now, when you decided to be branded as who you are now, did did that affect how your kids were treated at school?
Not now, but I preempted that, and I wrote the book, and I did talk to each of them about it. And then when I decided to actually launch the book and I realized that I could actually be famous for this, get a name, and I said, guys, people are going to say things to you. And I work with my children on mindset and that. And I said, okay, so preempting this before anybody does, what sort of things they're going to say, oh my God, your mum did this, your mum said that. Or, they may say your mum's a slut. It's a possible thing. And I said, well, we know what's going on. We know what's true. We are very sex positive in our home and we talk about it and they know the truth. And I said, as I said, anyone who gives you grief for that or tries to tease you, they don't have a leg to stand on, because how do they know about me? They're the ones that are actually my consumer by seeing it. But I did have to ask each of them for their permission, I suppose, because I understand what kids are like. And then all of them said yes, and then one of them said no. And then about after a day, I said, sweetheart, I think this will actually make us millions of dollars. And he goes, okay, buy me a guitar. So I think too, he came up to me a few weeks ago and goes, Mum, are you a sex coach? And I said, in a manner of speaking, but not exactly. I said, why? He goes, oh, because my friend said, why are you going to America? And he's 17. And a few of his friends go, why does your mum travel? What is her job? And he goes, she's a sex coach. And they both went, oh. And he goes, no, it's good. It's all cool. So they're really cool with it. They're sex positive as well. And we have a lot of open conversations, which most parents could learn from, that it's really something you need to do in your home, especially with teenagers and children and young adults, that they need to have accurate information.
Very, very important, especially accurate information and not information that they find online and stuff like that, which really makes it more misunderstood and more taboo. So something else that was in your intro, which kind of piques my interest as well, is you're 2 times world record holder of something, but you didn't say what. So what is that something that you're two-time world record holder of?
Would you believe me, Fong? I am the first woman in Australia to ever have worn a full suit of armor. Because a full suit of armor is something that's a relic, obviously, from back in the day. And the owner came to our school when I was in the 9th grade, and they needed someone who was tall enough, like a high, and I was nearly 6 foot when I was in 9th grade. And he said, I've never done this before. People have worn the chainmail or people have worn the helmet. No one had ever worn the full suit of armor. And he said, you're the first female to ever wear it. I'm like, I'm going to own that title. In retrospect, as an adult, I wonder if he said that to everybody, and maybe I'm not. But he told me I was, and I told everybody. The other thing we did is I went on a mastermind to Antarctica in 2015. And we did the polar plunge, which is jumping off. And we had 88 of us jumped off the boat into the Antarctic waters. And that was a world record because they'd never had that many jump off the boat at once. And I was actually the second one to jump off. And it's so funny because I was sort of thinking, oh, it's going to be freezing. And I remember the movie The Titanic is going to feel like 1,000 knives. I thought, oh, I was kind of not in the mood. And a lady who was in her 50s, a grandmother and a mother of 11, and she's like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, oh, I'm not really feeling it. She goes, what are you doing? Get ready. So I got in my gear and she went first, and she did a little pencil drop and I just copied what she did, but they put a rope around you and they pull you back. And it was freezing. It didn't feel like knives. It was freezing and very murky, but I jumped into the Antarctic waters as part of a group challenge that was a world record.
That is very, very cool. So let me ask you this. You have 2 world records. What was your life lesson in both of them?
You know what? Take opportunities. This was a really long time ago, and I could have just stayed warm and dry on the boat and not done that. But I was so proud of myself after I did it. And as I said, she was the first one because we were already on the lower deck, and then I was second. And after she did it, I just copied her and I did it. And then I remember, sort of scrambling to the top and climbing up the metal bars, and they help you out of the water because it's so cold. Then they give you a shot of vodka and you get a stamp of a pirate on your forehead, and you get your dressing gown. And as I walked back through the line, the other 86 people were there. And I thought, oh, this is huge. Like, and they were like, what's it like? What's it like? I said, it's not that bad. It's not that cold. And I think that's a life lesson for entrepreneurs, anybody. All of the things, the fear is in our mind between wanting to do something and doing it. It's in this gap here. Usually once you do the thing, it's never that bad as what you think. And after you do it, you're always so proud of yourself. You know, me going on stage and talking, and me, you know, announcing, yes, I'm Lady O. I help people with multiple orgasms. That took a lot of bravery, Fong. Like, it really did. But I'm so proud of myself that I did. Only because it needed to happen, and so many people are grateful, and I can help so many people. And I love chatting to you, chatting to my clients. My life, I just love it now. And I'm like, if I wasn't brave enough to take that step, if I wasn't brave enough to answer the call that we need to talk about orgasms, we need to talk about sex, and women in particular, we need to, but it helps men too. And it turned out a lot of men did. And I never, ever would have thought that I would help men with sex coaching. But the fact that the market opened up to me because of who I am and the way I have very calm and confidential conversations, but I listen to people. It turned out that's a need in the market that I was really able to fill.
And it's one of those things where sometimes you don't plan for it, and whatever comes your way becomes what your expertise is, and it's very, very important for you to actually supply that demand. So it's actually pretty cool that it all of a sudden that's showed up and worked out very well for you.
Yes.
Let's say we put you on that world stage again, and you have a few minutes to share with the world one last message, a message that you want everybody to remember Katrina for. What would that be?
I think that you should really tune into your body. And as I say to very successful people who are probably your target market as well, when you're out there doing your work is one thing and you are successful, but I want to know how you feel when you come home. A lot of people sit in the driveway or they're standing at their front door, and you go and put your hand on that doorknob. There is a feeling inside your body, and there is a story you're telling yourself about what's on the other side of that. And for some people, that's loneliness, and they don't have a partner or a family, and they want that. So I think you do whatever you need to do to create that. Other people, it's they know there's going to be tension on the other side of that door. There's someone in there who's their partner, they're fighting, or their kids. A lot of people's teenagers treat them like rubbish and swear and carry on, or just use them for money, and that's not a nice feeling either. And as I said, I still do relationships, even parent-child relationships. And other people, unfortunately, there is a danger there, or a domestic violence situation where they feel like they don't have enough help. And there is help for people in that. And the other people, it's a sadness because they've been with that person for so long. And when they open that door, they know that they feel just as lonely in the room with their family as they do when they are alone. And it doesn't have to be that way. And so I do help people on all the spectrums, from grieving, lonely, to wanting to start dating and not knowing how, to dating but not getting the right person. And then people in relationships 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, and 10 years plus. And I have been through all of those stages myself personally, and I know what it takes to make or break each of those. So I think if you know that your home life, or on weekends, or we've just had Christmas and public holidays, if that personal life is not what you want it to be, or you're not reaching the success that you know you can reach in business, reach out and let's have a chat, because that is my superpower. I can have that shifted for you really, really quickly. And you deserve that. And so if there's something that you want to deserve in that personal area, sex, intimacy, or your home life, I can help you with that.
Awesome, and I hope everybody takes note of that. And if there's anything, to reach out to you, because obviously you're a person that's very easy to talk to, regardless of the topic. And it's always nice to chat with someone who's so open and so willing to help others. So thank you very much for that. Now, before I let you go, I got 5 quick rapid fire questions for you. Let me know the first thing that comes to mind. You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence.
Ooh. Nectarines.
Nectarines.
Yellow nectarines.
So healthy. People who say fruit are usually healthy ones. Hollywood calls and goes, "Hey, we love your story. We think your story is amazing. We would love to do a biopic of you. Who would you cast to play you?"
Oh, the only answer is that woman out of Third Rock from a Sun. She's a really tall blonde woman, and I don't know her name, but everyone used to say I look like her, and so I'm just gonna pick her.
Okay. I could visualize the person, but I
Yes,
don't
I
remember her
should
name.
learn her name. And in art class in high school, someone drew a picture of me. It didn't look like me, but it looked like her, so we'll go with her.
Awesome. So she shows up at your door going, hey, I got cast to play you. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other. What would be an amazing night out with you be like?
Oh, with me, I don't drink a lot of alcohol, but I love to go out and eat. So, I love to go out. I think, you know what? A scavenger hunt. Let's do a scavenger hunt in the city.
Sounds awesome. One of those geocaching or something like that too, right? Where you
Yeah,
find
I haven't actually done one, but it's on my list of bucket list. So I'm like, let's do that. That's a great way to get to know each other.
very, very cool. She gets hungry and you go, hey, no worries, come back to my place. I'm gonna fix you my favorite dish and one of my specialties. What is that special dish that you could prepare for?
Oh, it'll take some time, but I love barbecue pork ribs and a salad. And we'd
Ah,
probably have chips because, who doesn't love potato chips? Like hot chips.
sounds delicious. And then also last question, before I get there, give me a number from 1 to 5.
4.
One, two, three, four. So the word is braces. Okay. So you could use it as, yeah, we'll use teeth braces. How would you compare success to braces? Or using braces as a metaphor for success?
All right, you've got to straighten things out if they're a bit crooked, and it takes time. So things don't happen overnight. That is something where we put things in place to get things in order and straightened out, and it takes time. A lot of people want quick answers, quick results. We're in the society where I need to be stimulated quickly, and I'm flicking through Netflix. Success takes time. Straightening things out takes time. Getting through to what the life you really want, it does take a bit of time and effort on your part, but it's so worth it.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like braces. Any final words from you, and what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So we'll put my link to my socials, I assume, down with the podcast. So please reach out to me. Messenger is good. You can have a chat to me and just mention that you saw me on the podcast with Fong. I hope that everyone has an amazing end to 2024 and 2025. And I was going to do this on my own. If people are only having sex once a year, you've only got 2 days left. But please don't just have sex once a year. It is really the key and the portal to more success, more money, more affluence, more happiness and productivity. So if your sex life is only once a year or less or not as many often, please let me have a chat and I will help you with that because you deserve that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, people, make sure you connect with Katrina. Always a joy to speak with. So, thank you very much for this. And then also, until next time, she's Katrina. My name's Fong. Until next time, today is the day to talk your peak potential. We'll see you later.
Thank you.